In today's noisy world, true attraction is not about flashy words or fleeting images, it's about the quiet, unshakable strength built within. Real magnetism is born when you master your mind, your emotions, and your values. In this video, we dive deep into Stoic principles that reveal how lasting attraction stems from self-mastery, resilience, mindful presence, and the silent confidence that others can't ignore. It's not about chasing validation. It's about becoming a man who radiates calmness, strength, and authenticity in every step he takes. If you're tired of superficial games and ready to unlock an irresistible presence built from within, stay with us. You're not just learning tactics, you're stepping onto the path toward becoming the freest, clearest, and strongest version of yourself. The origin of attraction, it begins with inner self-mastery. Attraction is not a game. It does not stem from ridiculous tactics or momentary displays. What truly touches another's heart is not the spotlight, but the quiet light that radiates from within you, a deep, natural, unassuming magnetism. And it all begins with self-mastery. Many men seek surface-level secrets, attempting to fix their external behavior while their minds remain chaotic. They believe that if they dress flashier, speak more fluently, or act bolder, they will easily attract attention. But that is merely a fragile illusion. True attraction cannot be faked. It is built through how you control your mind amidst uncertainty, how you calmly walk through storms without losing direction. You do not need to seek validation from others. You do not need to worry about pleasing everyone. When you begin mastering your emotions, living by values you have personally chosen, a silent strength will form. It is a strength that others notice even when you say nothing. It is a kind of magnetism that cannot be bought, nor borrowed through any outer facade. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control everything that happens, but we can always control how we respond. When you understand that the storms out there cannot crush your spirit unless you allow them, you will cease to be afraid. And once fear leaves you, you are no longer driven to show off or prove anything. You simply exist, and your mere presence commands attention. True magnetism stems from inner freedom. A man who is not manipulated by anxiety, not ruled by stress, and not lost to the world's expectations lives with a clear purpose, a solid value system, and is not easily swayed by superficialities. His strength is not from flashy appearances, but from the steadiness, awareness, and peace he carries in every step. In a noisy world, the one who maintains calm, lives by his values, and fully embodies the present moment will stand out the most. He does not seek others' glances. He does not need praise. His very presence becomes an answer. The journey begins by returning inward, managing emotions, understanding what you are thinking and feeling, and most importantly, choosing how to respond rather than reacting impulsively. That is how you lay the foundation for unshakable attraction. It is not what you wear that defines your worth. It is not eloquent words that make you special. It is the quietness within your mind, even as the world around you is in chaos. It is that calmness, that freedom, that resilience that truly sets you apart. The secret to attraction without relying on appearance. In today's world, where images and appearances easily capture attention, it's understandable why many believe attraction stems from looks. But the truth is, what truly touches another's heart is not something the eye can see. Lasting attraction, the kind that stays in someone's mind, always originates from inner depth. A man might have an impressive appearance, but without self-mastery and true presence, that allure will quickly fade. Conversely, a man without any outward flash can cause a room to fall silent when he walks in. Not because of his looks, but because of the energy radiating from his presence. Calm, confident, needing no fanfare, needing no attention. Attraction does not depend on facial features or body shape. It depends on how you walk with steadiness, how you communicate through your gaze with calmness, and how you listen with complete attentiveness. A man who masters his emotions and is not swept away by anxiety exudes a peace that others can sense, even if they cannot immediately name it. This begins from within. From knowing who you are. From living by values you have chosen, not to please anyone, but because they are true to you. When you no longer live for external validation, a new energy envelopes you, a quiet confidence, steady like a rock amidst the current. True magnetism also requires mindfulness. A mindful man is not ruled by fleeting emotions. He knows when to speak and when to remain silent. He understands that attraction lies not in trying to impress, but in the freedom that radiates from within. To reach this kind of attraction without relying on appearance, you don't need to change how you look. You need to turn inward, building your foundation through self-control. You need resilience in the face of negative emotions, patience with yourself, and perseverance in living by the values you believe in. Sustainable magnetism comes from emotional stability. When the world loses its way, but you remain clear-headed, you naturally become the center. No need to shout to be heard. No need to prove anything. Your quiet presence alone will make others wonder, what is happening inside this man? And that is the real secret. No need to chase attention. No need to meet the world's expectations. Simply live true to yourself, stay steadfast in your values, be free in your mind, and mindful in every action. Attraction will come naturally, as an inevitable consequence. That secret does not lie in what you put on your body. It lies in the man you are becoming each day. The art of making her feel understood. Deep attraction is not just about how you present yourself. It is also about how you make others feel when they are around you. A truly attractive man is not the one who talks the most in a room. He is the one who can look at someone and make them feel truly understood. To do this, you must be present, not just physically, but mentally. When you listen, do not only hear what she says. Hear what she does not say. Listen to the hesitation in her tone. Notice the way her smile shifts when speaking about something that brings her joy. Pay attention to how her eyes change when she talks about things that matter to her. These subtle details reveal the real person beneath the surface. The art of listening lies not in responding immediately. It lies in holding space for the other person to express themselves without fear of judgment. A resilient man is not quick to fix another's ass. He patiently listens, understanding that sometimes, what a person needs most is not advice, but simply a safe space to be themselves. When you truly listen, when you are fully attentive, you help the other person lower their defenses. And when that defense lowers, real connection begins. This is not a tactic. This is an act of mindfulness, paying complete attention to the present moment, without judgment, without imposition. Another important aspect is validating emotions. When she shares something, acknowledge the feeling behind the story. A slight nod, a simple yet sincere response like, "I understand," or, "That must have been difficult," carries more power than hundreds of hollow words of advice. When you do this, you not only make her feel safe, but you also train yourself in mindfulness, patience, and emotional self-mastery. Because to truly listen, you must set aside your ego, let go of the need to perform, and be fully present for another. In a world where everyone rushes to be heard but few truly listen, the man who knows how to make others feel understood will always stand out. And the most profound part is, by listening to others, you are also learning how to listen to yourself. No need for flowery words, no need for elaborate gestures. Just presence, mindfulness, and sincerity. These are what create the most lasting, genuine connections, far beyond all superficial displays. Gentle challenge, how to awaken depth within others. Deep attraction is not merely about making others feel comfortable. Sometimes, it comes from awakening something greater within them, a yearning for growth, a desire to explore their own depth. This is the art of gentle challenge. A subtle skill possessed by truly resilient men. Challenge is not about criticism or confrontation. It is not about forcing others to change to fit you. True challenge is a silent invitation. To look deeper within oneself, to discover what has yet to be realized. An awakened man knows that the most effective way to inspire growth in others is not through endless advice, but through well-timed, open-ended questions. A timely question has more power than 100 explanations. Questions like, what do you think this reflects within you? Or, if fear wasn't leading you, what would you choose? Not only provoke reflection but also create space for inner freedom to flourish. This art requires patience and respect. Because the process of growth cannot be rushed. The truly resilient understand that every person has their own pace for awakening. For recognizing their truth. A proper challenge is like planting a seed in another's heart, then quietly allowing them to nurture it themselves. While many strive to impress by imposing their views, the wise man chooses to create space for reflection. He does not seek immediate agreement. He does not need others to change instantly. He trusts in the power of self-awareness, a power that must arise from within each individual. Gentle challenge also reflects your own depth. It shows that you do not live on the surface, that you have enough depth to see potential in others. And enough mindfulness not to control them. This not only makes you more attractive but also nurtures deeper, more meaningful relationships. Ultimately, the art of challenging is not only directed outward. It is also a way you challenge yourself, to constantly question, to continually delve into your true values. To live mindfully each day. A man who lives this way does not need to seek attention. His quiet depth alone is enough to create undeniable magnetism. When speech becomes art, the allure of tone and words. It is not what you say that determines your power. It is how you say it. Tone, rhythm, slowness, calmness, all these convey a message far deeper than words alone can express. A truly attractive man does not rush when he communicates. He is not compelled to fill every silence with words. On the contrary, he knows that sometimes the pauses between words carry more weight than the words themselves. Calmness in the voice reveals inner strength. Slowness in speaking reflects confidence. And pausing at the right moment shows embody disciplined enough not to be ruled by anxiety. When you master your tone, you do not just transmit information. You transmit your mental state. A calm voice can soothe, attract, and make others feel safe. Thoughtfully chosen words show that you are not merely reacting, but speaking from mindfulness, from an understanding of the value behind every word you utter. The attractive do not need to speak much. They know how to choose their words deliberately. They understand that hollow promises or fake flattery do not build real connection. Only sincerity. Only depth in each spoken word can open the door to another's mind and heart. When you speak, let your words carry weight. Let each word come from a mindful place within you, a place not driven by anxiety. Not pressured by the need to impress. A man who controls his speech also controls his mind. And such a mind, in this chaotic world, radiates an irresistible magnetism. Finally, remember this. People may forget what you said, but they will never forget the feeling you left them with. And that feeling does not come from boasting. It comes from the quietness, certainty, and sincerity embedded in every word you choose to share. Eyes that speak, the secret of silent connection. In a world where words have become cheap, where everyone rushes to speak but few truly show up, the eyes have become the most honest language. A gaze deep enough can replace 1,000 words. And a truly resilient man understands that the greatest strength sometimes lies in the silent presence of his eyes. When you make eye contact with calmness and presence, you send a powerful message: I am here. I am fully present. I am not avoiding you, nor am I avoiding myself. Your gaze becomes a mirror, reflecting your inner depth without needing justification or explanation. If within you is a chaotic mind, your eyes will not be able to hide it. They will dart around, restless, anxious. On the other hand, if you have learned to sit still with your emotions, your gaze will be serene, steady, and naturally radiate an irresistible pull. The person opposite you may not be able to explain it, but they will feel the weight of your presence. Eye contact is not a contest of dominance. It is not about staring down to prove power. It is about accepting to be fully present in the moment, without worrying about being judged, without manipulating the situation to gain advantage. When you are truly present, your eyes will speak what your heart is silently guarding. A gaze held a moment longer than a regular breath can create a strange power. When you look into another with stillness, without rushing, without forcing, you give them a rare opportunity to be truly seen, not just with the eyes, but with the full attention of a mature soul. A steady gaze, accompanied by a gentle smile, can melt the defenses people build around themselves. In that moment, you need not say anything grand. Because what you are offering, acceptance, peace, freedom, is already enough to create a deep connection. Eyes that speak are the eyes of one who has walked through adversity without losing kindness. They are the eyes of one who has chosen mindfulness over blind reaction. They are the eyes of one who does not seek validation from the outside world, for he has found a solid foundation within himself. And it is precisely this silent freedom, freedom in how you see the world, freedom in how you show up, that makes others unable to look away from you. Preserve the mystery, why you shouldn't reveal everything at once. In a world where people can easily share everything about themselves in a few status updates, mystery becomes a rare and magnetic force. An attractive man is not someone who pours out his entire life story upon first meeting. He understands that valuable things are meant to be revealed gradually, with depth, and at the right time. Preserving some mystery does not mean playing games or manipulating. It is a subtle form of self-control, a conscious choice to share slowly, giving others the chance to discover you layer by layer. Each moment you allow curiosity to blossom, you create a connection that feels natural, not forced. A mindful man knows his value is not defined by what he exposes immediately. He does not need to prove himself. He is not in a rush to convince anyone to understand him right away. This inner freedom grants him the patience to honor the natural pace of any relationship. Keeping part of yourself mysterious is also a way of protecting your energy. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Choosing what to share and what to hold back is a sign of respect for your own self-worth. When you master the art of preserving mystery, you not only generate attraction but also demonstrate true strength. Because in a world obsessed with oversharing and rushing, the man who knows how to hold back is the one who has mastered himself. The art of silence, when saying nothing speaks louder than 1,000 words. In a world where everyone rushes to claim a voice, where silence grows increasingly rare, intentional silence becomes a special kind of power. A man who understands the value of silence does not need to prove anything. He carries a quiet weight that others can feel without him having to say a word. Silence is not a retreat born of weakness. Nor is it a sign of insecurity. True silence is a conscious choice. It is a manifestation of solid self-control, when you are strong enough not to react impulsively. When you know that not every situation calls for a verbal response. When you hold silence with full presence, you send a powerful message. I control myself. I am not swept away by emotions. I do not need to react hastily just to ease temporary discomfort. And this message creates a quiet magnetism. A strength that cannot be explained by logic alone. In the space of silence, others begin to sense the difference. They realize that behind your composed exterior lies a mind that has been disciplined. A mind no longer manipulated by anxiety. no longer desperate for immediate validation. A mind that has learned to remain still, to observe, and to choose actions with deliberate intent. Silence also creates space for others to reflect. Instead of pushing them into defensiveness with hasty reactions, you offer them the opportunity to face themselves. In that space, true connections are formed, not through words, but through meaningful presence. A man with clear goals and solid values is not afraid of silence. He understands that, within moments of no words, truth often reveals itself. He knows not every question deserves an immediate answer, and not every provocation needs a response. His silence is not passive endurance. It is a demonstration of inner strength making mindful choices. When you choose silence at the right moment, you also relieve your own mind. You allow yourself to pause, to breathe deeply, and to observe with greater clarity. It is within that stillness that resilience is nurtured, clarity is sharpened, and inner strength is fortified, piece by piece. Timely silence frees you from unnecessary emotional whirlwinds. When you are no longer caught in the noise, you can see what truly matters. You no longer act to gain approval or to resist, you act from clarity and inner freedom. A clever remark may be forgotten, but a profound moment of silence, filled with presence and self-mastery, will imprint itself on the memory of those around you. They may not remember exactly what you said, but they will remember the feeling you left behind: peace, solidity, and an unshakable quiet strength. Turning adversity into strength, the irresistible power of the unbroken man. There is a kind of magnetism that cannot be created by appearance, talent, or social skills. It is the quiet magnetism of a man who has walked through adversity without letting it distort his soul. A man who has faced loss, failure, betrayal, and instead of becoming bitter, has grown deeper and more resilient. In a world full of turmoil, everyone faces hardships. But not everyone learns to rise from their falls without losing their kindness and inner values. A truly attractive man is one who knows that adversity is not an excuse to give up or to rage against the world. It is an opportunity to forge inner strength, perseverance, and the ability to remain at peace with what cannot be controlled. When you pass through trials and still hold on to your integrity, you send a message stronger than any words: I cannot be easily broken. This steadiness emanates from your gestures, your gaze, your slow but firm words. Others feel a rare sense of safety in your presence, a rare feeling in a world brimming with anxiety and instability. Turning adversity into strength requires deep mindfulness. Not everyone can do it. The unaware blame, resent, and drown in their suffering. The mindful choose to learn. They choose to find meaning even in the darkest hours. And from that choice, a quiet power is born, a power that does not need to flaunt, does not need to prove, but is felt deeply by anyone who meets you. A man who lives with purpose and values understands that adversity is not the end. It is merely a mandatory part of the journey of growth. He does not let old wounds define him. Instead, he uses them to sharpen his courage, his patience, and his compassion. The paradox is this: when you stop fighting adversity, when you learn to embrace and overcome it with resilience, you become freer. No longer afraid of loss, no longer afraid of failure, you walk with the lightness of a man unburdened. And it is precisely this freedom, this peace, that makes you more attractive than anyone else. A man who has turned adversity into strength does not need to seek attention. He carries with him a presence that demands respect, not because of what he shows off, but because of what he has quietly conquered within himself. Living mindfully, the silent freedom everyone yearns for. Amidst the chaos of modern life, where people are easily swept away by urgent demands and external expectations, one thing becomes increasingly rare and precious: mindfulness. Not surface level, fleeting mindfulness, but a way of living where you are fully aware of every thought, every emotion, every choice you make, no longer ruled by unconscious habits or invisible fears. A mindful man is not someone who faces no challenges. He encounters pain, disappointment, and pressure just like anyone else. But instead of being swept away by them, he chooses to observe. He steps back half a step before every rising emotion, every instinctive reaction, and asks himself, what does this truly mean? Is this aligned with the values I choose to live by, or is it merely an impulsive response? Living mindfully demands courage. The courage to look directly into the most vulnerable parts of oneself. The courage not to flee from uncomfortable emotions but to accept them as part of the journey. Why of growth? Such a man does not seek to escape stress or anxiety. He learns to walk through them with a clear mind, knowing that only by facing them can he truly be free. Mindfulness also means living with purpose. Not drifting aimlessly with the currents of circumstance. You know where you are headed. You understand why you choose this path and not another. Your goal is not to satisfy external approval but to fulfill the deepest values within you. When you live this way, every action, every decision, every moment of silence carries clear and powerful meaning. A mindful man is not easily manipulated by the noise around him. He does not seek fleeting distractions to feel alive. Nor does he fill inner emptiness with momentary pleasures. He finds fulfillment in fully being present with life, even in its simplest moments. Mindful living is the strongest foundation for resilience. When you are deeply present, you no longer overreact to failure. You no longer fear unexpected change. You understand that every circumstance is merely a part of life's greater flow. And your true value is not defined by any external event. Such a man does not need to strive to impress. His inner freedom from anxiety, stress, and the need for approval, naturally radiates as a silent magnetism. Others are drawn to him not for what he performs but for the sense of safety and clarity he brings. Ultimately, mindful living is not a destination. It is a way of being. A daily, moment-to-moment choice, to observe instead of react, to choose instead of drift. To be present instead of lost. And with each moment you choose to live this way, you are not only building a life of purpose and value, you are also stepping closer to the deepest kind of freedom. A freedom no circumstance can ever take from you. True magnetism does not come from what you try to display. It comes from who you persistently become each day. A man who is self-possessed, resilient through adversity, living mindfully with clear goals and values, does not seek validation. He stands like a mountain amidst the turbulent seas of life, calm, steadfast, and unshakable. This journey is not easy. It demands that you battle, not against the world, but against your own old habits. Yet when you choose to live this way, you not only draw others' attention, you also reach the silent freedom the whole world is desperately searching for.